Okay, welcome back, y'all. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to Artificial Intelligence. I'm your co-host, Professor Menakaya, with my great co-host, Dr. Henrietta Wright. And this is about ethics of AI and basically education and why it's important because today's topic we're going over academic language, transparency, and representation. So, as educators and artists, we often reflect on the originality of our work, how it emerged just not from facts and data, but from personal experience, cultural context, and intellectual ownership. AI can support us. We understand that much. But today, I really want us to dive in on how to extend our thinking and even help us revise and reflect. Because in reality, as we are seeing now with this AI, it cannot replicate the essence of the original piece. And this is really great because Dr. Wright will talk more about her art. And really, this is artificial because when we think about what is artificial and what is art official, we think about the creative output is more than information, it's intention, it is reflection, and it's human insights. A machine may generate words, but it doesn't experience purpose. And that's where we humans come in. Today, we challenge ourselves as students, and we're also challenging ourselves as teachers when we think about AI, because AI is a student and a teacher. It's a language model. I want you to understand that it's a language model. So it requires humans to think critical about what it means to own your voice and your work as you work with AI. So if you're writing a paper, designing a concept, or just producing a digital art piece or an original piece on paper, the process involves transparency, being clear about your source, your influence, and your intent. Reputation, representation matters. So, whose voice is being amplified? Who is left out? These are a question AI cannot answer unless we ask them first. In academic language, while powerful, should not be used to exclude, but to empower and communicate responsibly. So we're going to now discuss how we're going to embrace AI not as a creator, but also as a collaborator. We're going to use it as not just as a tool, but as a system that can scout for ideas, but not steal our spotlight. Because we're not here to be replaced ourselves. We're here to highlight what we can do to celebrate the fact that we now have another tool that we can use in our arsenal to be creative people when we output this create and this art. So, how would you want to design this representation? I feel like you always want to set yourself into modules. So we are in a conference now. We're in Boston, and this conference is really talking about AI ethics and education, which is up the alley of what this show is about. So, what is a module? So when we think about a module, we think about consisting of like introduction of discussions that are related to just really tracking where people are going with the concept through their philosophy and how that goes back into what we now see as transparency. So here in Boston at Northeastern University, and we actually have this implementation that we're interested in including, which is the VSD, value sensitive designs. And that's very important because when you think about your design as an artist and an educator, you're always planning ahead and seeing where it can go into it. You don't know what the finishing touch will be, but you know once you finish, it's not going to be the same thing you thought you planned before in the beginning.
Yeah, it's true.
So, how does that now apply into the classroom? And then how does that apply now when you think about what we can do to make AI our resource and not something that's going to hinder us in the long run? So that's where the module comes in. What kind of modules do you want to have? You want to be able to avoid things that are just taught to be um let me be honest, boring. You're having a challenge and you're trying to see how you can present this challenge in a way where you will have solutions, not just for yourself, but people who may be outside of your field. So Dr. Wright is an education professor, and I will see myself more as a computer science professor. So we are now looking at like what coordination between us can we set as instructors, and 'cause we are from different departments. So we're trying to see the compatibility of really how we can set a module that both sides can make sure that our students benefit, our colleagues might benefit, and most importantly, ourselves as humans can benefit. So that includes laying the groundwork for like a common approach, making sure that these approaches have a variety of value commitments and pretty much present the challenges that can have those solutions and fostering a sense of value. So then when we come back to really what today's topic is, that means you have to have the right language, that both sides can understand. So there might be a language that Dr. Wright is talking with her peers in the education department. It might go over my head. And then there might be some language I'm talking to my colleagues in the computer science department. It will definitely go over Dr. Wright's head.
Was a prime example when we went to dinner last night,
Hmm.
and you guys were talking all this coding, and I said, "Hey, stop right here. This is where I'm just totally like, this is all Greek to me because I don't understand all that particular language." And so that's why we came up talking about the different academic language, because each department or program will have that particular academic language that is, you know, specific to that particular department or program. So you and I getting together to have, like you said, that compatibility where we're merging your language with my language to be, synonymous with one another.
Very interesting because we have to be transparent. Some of us won't really understand that particular language. So the other side should be able to bridge a gap, be able to explain how we can transition into that next field. So, yeah, if I'm trying to explain to Dr. Wright what coding is, I want to explain to her like coding is basically a language that we use to create apps and create programming that can now be used in your classroom, where students can now use these apps to learn more about what they want to learn in your class.
Yeah, and we talk about that transparency, that's just being open.
Uh-huh.
We talked about all the time, there's silos,
Yes.
your department within that has silos. My department, we have silos, and no one is really coming together to just like destroy these silos so that we have this transparency. With why you're trying to hide it, because we want everybody to have access, right?
And I think that's another thing is when you talk about assets, you want to have the people understanding that whoever you're explaining your ideas and thoughts, it's going to be completely how you perceive it from what they perceive it. And in this conference, we had this one great leader. He said something that was very touching. He said there are people who create apps right now, but they don't even know what the problem they are trying to solve with these apps. And it was very important because it's true. I have seen it now.
How can you create something and you know what the problem is?
You just created it.
You just creating it for what? And who's your audience?
And who's the audience? What does it do? Is it going to save my life? Is it something I can track my pets? And that's another thing we had learned today. There are so many tools right now that AI is implementing, like the robot Ariba, something that can carry you now from different angles. We had to think about the harm that could come from that. We had to think about the safety. We had to think about the affordability of the robot,
Privacy.
the privacy, and I think a lot of people understand that it's great to have innovation.
Yes.
It's great to have motivation, but at the same time, you need to be representation of what your ideas is. You need to be able to represent yourself. Okay, I'm an educator. That's why this app was created, because I want to be able to implement and contribute to the education field. Or I'm a scientist. I created this app because I want to be able to create to the science world. Or I'm an artist. So I created this app because I wanted to contribute to the artist world. And I feel like a lot of us are not hitting that mark no more. We're just now hyping up AI because it is a hype right now, because a lot of people are seeing what it can do, which is great. It's going to do a lot of great things for us in the next decade. But right now, this show is to help you to know that if you don't have the intent to understand what your challenges are before you get into that problem, You're only going to sell yourself short, and you're going to sell those who would love to be part of your ideas short. So, yeah, I think we should basically talk more about values and how we can make it more transparent as you go along into your representation and your language around your settings. Welcome to Artificial Intelligence. Bye for now.
And that's official.